Welcome to Foundations TV, everybody. Our guest today is Deepti Navaratna. Welcome to Foundations TV, Deepti.
Thank you, Gauri. Thanks for having me over.
Oh, absolutely. A pleasure to have you. I've enjoyed our conversation off camera too, but now let me introduce you to everybody. Deepti, as most of you know, is a beautiful woman of our community, a beautiful Carnatic musician as well. She has a lot of awards in her name, including a lot of All India Radio awards from India while she was there. She also is a proud achiever of the Cambridge Arts Council grants, which is helping her with some of her very unique and entrepreneurial projects that she has taken up recently. And she has also been awarded the prestigious St.Botolph Emerging Artist Award, which has helped her in her partner, or her, I guess you're part of the New England Conservatory as well.
Music, yeah.
So that has been helpful for you as well. That's wonderful. Deepti, besides being a Carnatic musician, you are also a neuroscientist.
Yes, I'm split in the head.
And she's good at both, I have to say, because she has authored many papers and citations, has been cited in many different write-ups as well in her field of neuroscience. So, well, we will touch that later, but first let's come back to the Carnatic music. I want to hear a little bit about your journey as a musician, when you began, and just a little bit about your roots, maybe.
Okay. Well, I was born and raised in Bangalore. I started learning Carnatic music when I was four-ish. And growing up in Bangalore is a very vibrant cultural scene. It was easy to grab a concert of Carnatic music and go concert hopping to another Hindustani classical music show, or chill at a pub with some cool jazz going on. So I think that environment has also shaped some of what I do today. In terms of my parents, there was no immediate musician in the family, but I was born to an aeronautical scientist and an educational entrepreneur, just like you, Gauri.
Oh, wonderful.
So I guess the impetus on scientific rigor and the value of lifelong learning, of creative expression, and those are the values that I imbibed from my parents, and I guess those values have gone a long way in shaping what I do and what I value even today.
Lovely. So there is a little bit of entrepreneurship that you inherited from your father.
Definitely.
That's wonderful. And then the music and the creative side from your mom, as I hear.
That's right.
So that's good, wonderful. And then your exposure to jazz, I think, is also is kind of evident in. I've heard some of your music, and there's a little contemporary aspect of it, so which is beautiful. Actually, that's a lovely fusion of Carnatic music with the contemporary works.
And just like they say, not all those who wander are lost. The broader my exposure got, the deeper my appreciation for Carnatic music.
Wonderful. So that does give us a little glimpse of your Indian background. So tell us more about your journey. What brought you to the US?
I came to US to do graduate school. I enrolled in the University of New Mexico to do for a PhD in cell biology and neuroscience. And I guess I never let go of my roots. Moving to the United States actually forced me to value what I had and what I already had learned in India. Yeah. And so as I was doing a PhD, I was also teaching a course called Music of South India in the University of New Mexico.
You started that right away when you came here, the teaching part?
Right.
Oh, good. Wow.
So I designed and developed a course. It was a music appreciation course for Americans and world music enthusiasts.
And where were you teaching that course?
That was offered as part of the music department at University of New Mexico, so I was pretty fortunate.
That's impressive. No, I'm sure you had the drive and the zeal to do something like that. That's great.
Yeah, I was pretty resolute about two things. Yeah. One is I have to move forward, but to fly high, you need to dig deep. So
beautiful meaning to that. Yes.
So I didn't want to let go of my roots, but I also wanted to move forward. And I wanted to bridge a life that accommodates both. So,
Lovely, lovely. So that was your first musical endeavor here in the
In the
US?
United States.
And then where did you go from there?
And after my PhD, I moved to Boston. And Boston, with its extremely thriving Indian community and all its opportunities, I was like a kid in a candy store. I wrote several grants. I produced my first album, Rohinam, which is just a CD of traditional Carnatic music. I'm thankful that I got the Utah Arts Council award for that.
Wow.
That supported the production of my first
Wow,
CD.
wow.
And I guess as soon as I moved to Boston, I was also very aware of the thriving contemporary and world music scene in Boston. So I wanted to join the New England Conservatory, which is every classical musician's dream, somewhat. And at the New England Conservatory, I couldn't have asked for anything better.
And you were the first Carnatic musician in there, right?
That's right. I was
Wow.
really fortunate to have been the first Carnatic musician in the history of New England Conservatory to join that program.
Excellent. That's excellent.
And so the program itself is designed to actually catalyze musical innovation and scholarship for traditional artists who want to take the music to diverse audiences, to diverse communities. And the program is designed for what they say musical entrepreneurs of tomorrow. So I'm
That's super
Very
impressive.
grateful, very
yes,
grateful.
Deepti, that is super impressive. That's something, you've gone beyond the community. You have represented our community beyond what anybody can imagine. So that is really, really commendable. That's excellent. You make us all proud.
Thank you.
So, I know you have a lot of achievements in your name. Which is your favorite one? What was the high moment of your life?
Well, I guess when I was 18, winning the All India Radio National Music Award
Sure, at
Was
18. Wow.
was a big shot in the arm that gives you a lot of recognition, and it sort of bolsters your spirit.
Yes.
That if you continue to learn and invest in your own arts, that you can actually do something worthwhile with it.
Yes.
So, and I think the day I heard from the New England Conservatory that I had actually gotten into that program was another
big high for you.
high for me, definitely.
That's great.
But on a more personal note,
Yeah.
I feel my biggest achievement has been that I have been obstinate enough to stay close to what my true motivations are. I think my purpose is to engage myself in creative endeavors, be it science or music. I see them as highly complementary activities that build on the same urge to be creative. And so I've been obstinate enough to not let go of that motivation and not fall into any labels or boxes. And so
That's amazing.
I believe if you're an outlier,
Yeah.
that difference is what will help you make a difference. And so you have to
amazing.
sort of learn to be an outlier of
Yeah,
sorts.
Yeah, that's an amazingly inspirational message. I'm absorbing it as you're saying it, and I'm like, wow, that is something that I'm going to hold on to for the rest of my life, And I'm sure people who are hearing you today are going to really, really be affected by what you just shared, to have that consistency and that drive and the determination that I'm going to make it. And in the light of that, in the same sequence of things, you have an entrepreneurial project coming up and some workshops. So why don't you tell us about those?
Yeah. The Carnatic Alchemy project was born as a musical platform for innovation, sustainability in the arts, and to provide a channel that can catalyze community engagement. So like they say, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes many hands, both within and outside the community, arts councils, government, and and a lot of arts administrative policies which have to work in tandem to actually sustain musical innovation. So the Carnatic Alchemy project basically was born with the goal to take musical innovation to diverse communities in the Massachusetts area and beyond, hopefully one day.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
And so we will do concerts, we will promote the creation of new music, and we already have a concert coming up on February 22nd.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to that one.
Which we will, I guess, get to in a minute. And we will also engage in community activities, and we've announced the Carnatic Singing Circles workshop, wherein we actually introduce the Nada Yoga principles, or the yogic philosophy behind Carnatic music, to a yoga spirituality audience. So we have a wide range of activities planned around the idea of taking traditional sounds to diverse audiences.
So this Carnatic Alchemy project that you just spoke of, is this the Cambridge Arts grants, that's Council Arts, Cambridge Arts Council grant
funded, yes.
Helping you with that?
Definitely.
Okay.
I was very happy that just 2 days ago I got the news that Massachusetts Cultural Council basically promotes creative economy, as they call it, in the area, and they invest in artists who can whose project goals align with the broader arts policies for Massachusetts. So this is a big recognition.
Great.
I'm deeply grateful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
And the Singing Circles workshop will actually, hopefully in the years to come, we will see that being held in assisted living centers, in libraries, in prisons, anywhere there is a need to contemplate with sound. And
I think that's everywhere. Music is language that touches hearts.
Right.
And it makes such a huge difference in people's lives.
Right.
So all the places that you just mentioned, I think they can really benefit from something like that.
Right.
So that's great. So you do have, this is not just the concert, but this is like a whole umbrella that's going to hold so many different things. And is there like is this project, does it have an end date as well? Or is it something like going to be ongoing? I don't know if that's...
Hopefully it'll go on and on and on.
Yay. Of course it will. That's great. That's super exciting, I'm sure. Yeah.
Right. In addition to the concert, in trying to take Carnatic music to different communities, even in the New England area, we have come up with what I call the Carnatic Alchemy Prize. And this year's competition, it's a competition for children and adults. And it's based on the musical works of M.S. Subbulakshmi. And as you all know, she was the true alchemist. She, 50 years ago, she did category spanning work, which is bewildering to me, sitting here today and going through the wide spectrum of work she has done. So in her honor, we have come up with this competition, and I hope that will help raise awareness of Carnatic music, even with North Indian and greater Indian communities and diaspora in the New England area.
I'm sure. So this is, just listening to you. First of all, I was totally wowed when I read your biography. And now listening to you today during this interview, it's kind of reinforcement that it's not just beautifying your own soul through your own passions and, developing your own self, but it's also radiating that energy out into the community and even beyond the community and taking it out to various diverse groups of people and being able to use that energy in a very constructive and a very reformative manner, which is, and there's this encouragement factor with the competition. So there's a whole lot of different things. I mean, what is it that you're not doing, Deepti? You're doing everything. That's amazing.
Not sleeping enough, I guess.
Not sleeping enough, yeah. You got to take care of yourself. That's important.
So, and looking ahead, I want to put my brain where my heart is. So when I say this, I'm currently working on a study that involves using South Indian classical rhythm training for dyslexic children. So, so you have a learning center right here.
Yes,
so,
yes.
I'm sure it resonates well with
It
your
does,
goals
it
as well.
does, it does,
So in the future, I plan to expand Carnatic Alchemy project into education, developmental challenges. So as a musician, as a student of sound, you're exposed to a certain vantage points. And as a neuroscientist, you get to evaluate the same human experience on a totally different level. So
kind of merges the two together.
Right. So I plan to make the most of it and hopefully apply some of my musical training towards learning disabilities for dyslexic children. So we'll have a Kickstarter campaign coming up soon.
That's great. That's great. I love the way you call yourself student of sound.
I've always been.
I love that. I love that phrase. So speaking of you a little bit more, you have a beautiful CD that you're also releasing on the 22nd.
That's right.
So including that, what else can the audiences expect on that fabulous event that's coming up, which I'm very looking forward to?
So the concert on the 22nd is called Karnataka Dancers. It'll be a concert of new music. It's Carnatic-inspired music. And if you're a world music enthusiast and you want to check out a whole new form of voice and instrumental orchestrations, then this is your concert. If you've never heard Carnatic music, then definitely this is your show. If you don't know, and if you have never heard any music,
this is the place to go and enjoy it and appreciate it. Absolutely.
Just kidding.
So wherever you are in this ladder, you got to come and experience it yourself.
Right. And on a more serious note, the concert will release my first CD of contemporary classical music.
Congratulations.
So as a traditional musician, you're used to doing music in a certain model. So as a South Indian classical vocalist, you sing with a violin and mridangam. This music takes the same ideas, the same aesthetic, but casts it in a chamber classical format. So Western classical music also has certain models of music making. So we take the music from one model and switch it to another model, and bingo, that makes for some alchemist experiences. So that's the soul behind the CD and the experiment. And so the CD Ka was a collaboration with an Indian American composer at Holy Cross College, Sirish Korde. I'm very happy that the first CD of this experiment has actually culminated and is out. Hopefully you all will be able to join me. And
I hope so too.
Come to the concert.
Yes, absolutely. And just you've done some massive projects all along since you stepped into this country, I think. And
Yes.
you have some really great achievements, and I know it's not easy. It's not easy to plan something, to actually be able to execute your plans and to be able to accomplish so much. So definitely congratulations to you for
Thank you,
everything that you've done so far, and all the best for your upcoming event as well as your release of the CD. I will certainly own a copy of that one.
Okay. Thank you so much, Gauri.
Sure. Thanks for coming to Foundation
My
TV.
pleasure.
And before we end the video, I do want to give credit a little bit to the person who actually, from Smita's Boutique, the outfit that I'm wearing is from
You look
Smita's
lovely.
Boutique. Thank you. And you look so pretty too. I love the way we coordinated. But this is, the outfit is from Smita's Boutique. So I just wanted to mention that. And thank you so much for coming.
The pleasure was totally mine. Thank you, Gauri.